mentioned it earlier, and I read it a couple of times.
Huh?
I read it recently as well. Mom was, I think, that originally Adam was supposed to live forever.
Kid, I said that.
Yeah.
Kid.
I'm a little confused by that because Hashem obviously doesn't change his mind. Doesn't, you know.
Thank you.
So what was? I don't understand that. What would be the purpose of creation then, if that was the case? If Adam was supposed to live forever?
Yeah. What would be wrong with him living forever?
Because I don't know.
Then you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, like
I'd love to live forever.
I don't know. I can't. Maybe it's above my pay grade.
So okay. So you have the issue with Adam HaRishon is that you cannot compare him to a regular person like you and I, simply because he wasn't. The Torah describes Adam HaRishon in a very, very extraordinary way that's hard to understand even the description. They say that the back of the bone of his foot, the bone of his foot, like the one that's like the heel bone, or whatever it is, not the heel bone. I don't know what this bone is called. The what? Achilles? Yeah, I guess it's kind of connected. Whatever, the bone somewhere, some little thing that he has, a little ball thing that you have in your foot. It says that it had the shine, it had the same shining power, greater shine than the sun. His beauty was so extraordinary that the brightest diamond that would ever exist wouldn't do it justice. That was his entire body. This is the reason why we look at our nails on Havdalah, because it reminds us of the original sin. And by the way, listen, you're leaving Shabbat, you're going to mundane. What mundane is when the sin was made. Don't make the same sin. That's in essence one of the reasons why we look at our nails in Havdalah. Against the reflection of the fire. The size of Adam HaRishon was from here to the sky. The wisdom of Adam HaRishon was beyond extraordinary. He had the wisdom to name every single creature, but not like we name things just because it sounds cool. You know, they came up with the name Google because it has something to do with some big number. They came up with the name Amazon because the first name they came up with the company was terrible, and they figured that, you know, we're selling a lot of things. It kind of, you know, has some type of connection in their mind to the Amazon forest. Therefore, they called Amazon Amazon. That's not the way that Adam HaRishon gave the creation names. So, for example, when he looked at a horse, he called it Sus. Why Sus? Because Sus, in essence, by definition, the horse rides into the war. Rides fast into the war. It's one of these animals that likes war. So the name Sus, Sas Lekrav, meaning it's like the name is a description for the animal. Same thing with bear, lion, and so on and so forth. So the names that he gave from the Sfat HaKodesh, using Sfat HaKodesh, the Hebrew, the holy language, were not just regular names because they sound good, but literally the name describes the being. The name describes whatever he is. So the wisdom, such wisdom, is indescribable. It's not something we can compare it to. There's no IQ for that. He was so beautiful, so big, so extraordinary that the Gemara says that the Malachim came down. They actually thought that it was God. They actually thought that God became, like, humanized himself. And they were about to say, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. And right before they started saying Kadosh, 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 which is what they do in Shemaim, Hashem put him to sleep. To see, well, you see, he's not Hashem. Why? Hashem doesn't sleep. And that's when he took out the bone, and the rib, and he made Chava. So, Adam HaRishon, the same extraordinary Adam HaRishon, also had all of the souls in one. Meaning, all of the souls that exist today were part of his soul. It wasn't a single soul. It was literally all of them. But each one of them was in different part of the body. So, I might have been in the foot, in the toenail. You may have been in the fingernail. He may have been in the head. The other one was in the knee. These souls were everywhere. It wasn't like one soul, like our soul is a single soul. It was all of the souls together.
Even the Goyim were inside him?
All of the beings, everyone. Everyone. So the being of Adam Rishon is not something we could truly compare to us. But this being, this Adam Rishon, when he found out and realized that his genius idea was actually a bad idea, he did tshuva for 126 years. Not like us that someone has to beg us to do tshuva for 126 days. 126 years he left his wife to go do tshuva. What was the whole thing? The Sfarim HaKadoshim say that really the reason why he accepted to eat from the tree of knowledge was not because he wanted to go against Hashem. It's the opposite. He said, listen, I need to worship Hashem. I want to worship Hashem forever. The only way I'm going to worship Hashem forever is if I live forever. So I have to find out where the tree of life is. I don't know where the tree of life is. It says that the tree of life is in the middle of the garden. In the book it says it's in the middle of the garden. Where's the middle? There's millions of trees. Where's the middle? So if I eat from the tree of knowledge, it'll tell me where the middle is. And I'll find it, I'll eat it, and then I can serve Hashem forever. So in essence, he meant well. That was the problem. Hashem, I said, I didn't ask you to mean well. I asked you to do something, you didn't do it, punished. So the whole thing of Adam HaRishon is not necessarily something that we can compare to you and me. But in essence, Hashem created him by himself originally, without Chava. Why? To show us that it was worth it for him to create the entire world just for him, just like it is worth it for him to create the entire world just for you. Just for you. So if Adam HaRishon would have lived forever, it doesn't necessarily mean that it would have only been him. Could have still brought children to the world, still would have brought more people to the world. It doesn't necessarily negate that. At the same token, it doesn't negate the fact that even if he would have lived by himself, it doesn't negate that the world's purpose would still be served. Because of the immeasurable amount of qualities and abilities that he had. So again, it's when we look at the stories of our ancestors, whether it be Adam HaRishon or Noach or Moshe Rabbeinu or the Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov or any of them, you really can't compare apple to apple. It's not apple to apple. It's not comparison. Not any one of them. It might as well be a different species. But it's still mentioned in the Torah because the lesson, the musar that you learn from it, still applies to you. Still applies to you. Still applies to me. Still applies to everyone. The basic lesson still applies. As far as the significance of the person, doesn't apply because again, we can't really get our head around the fact that the generation of knowledge saw all these miracles and still sinned. It doesn't make any sense to us. But the reality is, not only are we not allowed to judge them, because in reality we don't know what they saw, and we don't know what kind of desires they had and what kind of yetzirah they had. The reality is, we are doing the same thing, just in different ways. We're doing the same exact thing they did, just in different ways. That's why we're still here. That's why we still have to do tshuva. Next question. Yeah.
Who was exactly Amalek?
Amalek was originally a person.
Yes.
Originally a person that was the son of Eliphaz and Timnah. Eliphaz and Timnah were married. Eliphaz was the son of Esav. And Eliphaz married Timnah, who was a queen and for the Goyim, who wanted to convert, but they did not allow her to convert, so she married him. And Amalek was their son. And from him, he started a nation, and they officially became the enemies of Am Yisrael. Why the enemies of Am Yisrael? Why is Amalek constantly trying to kill Am Yisrael, which I forgot to mention before? Because they are taking vengeance for us not converting their mother. This is all revenge. Amalek has in their DNA to take revenge against Am Yisrael because we didn't convert Timnah. That's why. It's in their DNA. So this is a spiritual war already for a few thousand years, almost 4,000 years, because of something that happened. So it's not like opinion that it was a error. It's not an opinion that this is a reality. This is part of the Torah.
Because it's holding back the world from uniting. I mean, is it in a way like holding back the world from uniting?
No, it wasn't necessarily that. I mean,
To accept God, one God, and like during the time of Mashiach.
well, no. Once the Mashiach comes, I mean, it's not the whole world is not going to necessarily accept God. No, once the Mashiach comes, I mean, before there's going to be a big war, according to the prophets and both Ezekiel and Zechariah and a few other places. 2/3 of the world is going to die. 1/3 is going to be left, and out of the third, only some will actually survive. Not all. The ones that do tshuva will survive. The righteous Jews will be the leaders, and the righteous Noahides will be, in essence, their students. And 700 righteous Noahides, which is 70 from each, 10 from each of the 70 nations, will hold on to each of the corners of the tzitzit that each Jew has, meaning 700, 700, 700, 700, 2,800. Each Jew is going to have, if he wore tzitzit. And they're going to ask him to teach them. After they say, now that we know that our forefathers lied to us, and their gods are fake, and your God is real, this is actually written in the book, in the Tanakh. Now that we know that our forefathers lied to us, and your God is the real God, teach us. And they're going to want to, they're going to pretty much be his students, but not students like they show up to shiur on Tuesday nights, with all due respect to you guys. It's not students like that. Students like pretty much they're going to live for their Rebbe. Like, kind of like what Chabad does, but in a kosher way. So it's a, you got to call it what it is. Listen, you think you turn your rabbi into Mashiach, it's not kosher. Okay, I tell you. He's a rabbi, he's Ish Kodesh, he's not Mashiach. So anyway, the unification is not necessarily going to be kumbaya around the world. It's going to be a lot of craziness before the end comes. There's going to be a lot of craziness before the end comes. But those pure souls that do tshuva beforehand, B'ezrat Hashem will see the salvation, will be saved, and they have nothing to worry about. Those that don't have everything to worry about. So it's not necessarily that Hashem created the world for the world to unite. It's Hashem created the world for us to fulfill His Torah. To fulfill His Torah requires first Am Yisrael to do it, and then the rest of the nations to follow suit. And that's what we say every day in Alenu L'Shabeach. We do it 3 times a day. 3 times a day, and I say in Alenu L'Shabeach. And I'll read it to you so you see. So it talks about we're here to praise Hashem, that we're the Jews, we're not one of these idol worshippers, and so on and so forth. And it says, "Letaken olam b'malchut Shaddai," to perfect the world with the kingdom of Hashem. So in essence, our whole world is to destroy and banish all the false gods from earth, and to cut them all down in order to perfect the world and in the kingdom of Hashem. And all of mankind, Jews and non-Jews, will call upon your name to turn back to you, and all of the evildoers will recognize you, and so on. So ultimately, the Tikkun Olam requires the world to recognize it, but that doesn't necessarily mean the world that we have in front of us. Because most of the people in front of us, most of the people that are in the world today, are not even close to fulfilling that purpose. Most of the people that live today are just trying to fulfill their desires. So, yes, we would love every single person to survive. We would love every single person to be righteous. We would love every single person to serve Hashem. It's just not realistic.
But when we didn't back then, didn't accept the help for this person convert, or
Right?
Symbolically, and in a way created Amalek, no?
Right, so again, if someone comes to convert today, this is a proof for us to help the convert. but not the person that doesn't want to convert. The world doesn't want to convert. Many want to convert, and we are obligated to help them. That's why it's part of what I do every single day, is help converts as much as possible, take them to the Beit Din, try to provide them information, and so on and so forth. If someone wants to be righteous, you're obligated to help them. But if someone wants to fulfill their desires, you have no obligation whatsoever to help them do tshuva. You have an obligation to help Am Yisrael do tshuva, but you don't have an obligation to help the Goyim do tshuva. You only have an obligation to help them if they are looking to become a Jew. So if they come to you, sure, help them, because we don't want to make the same mistake and reject them. But you don't have any obligation to go look for them in the streets and become a missionary for for Goyim to convert. It's they have to want it themselves.
And the other issue that you brought up tonight, where who was it that you were talking about? Just basically that the Jews were not, in other words, they weren't fulfilling their role or their belief in God. Or
Right.
Who was it that said that you aren't, but now you are? The story that part of what you just said.
I don't remember. Go ahead. What's the question?
Well, I'm just saying.
If you ask the question, I'll probably remember what I said.
So it's like the dual importance of the Jews become doing tshuva and then not rejecting a righteous convert.
Right. Well, doing tshuva, not rejecting the righteous convert is part of doing tshuva. It's not necessarily a separate mission of its own. It's part of doing tshuva, just like praying every day is part of tshuva. Fulfilling mitzvot is part of tshuva. Actually, tshuva itself is one of the 613 mitzvot. The 613 mitzvot that we're obligated, tshuva is one of them. Meaning that it's relevant to every single person to do tshuva. It's not like something that only some people need to do. Every single person is obligated to do tshuva, regardless of whether they were born religious, became religious. Doesn't matter. Everyone is obligated to do tshuva. So part of doing tshuva is obviously regretting the sin, stopping the sin, and taking action and so on. But it's doing mitzvot. One of the mitzvot is to help the convert. So helping the convert is one of the mitzvot. This specific story that we've connected, in the Mishnah that we've connected, is one of the things that got us in trouble. It's not tshuva by itself. It's not like, in essence, the one thing we need to do and everything is fine. It's one thing that got us in trouble that we're still making that mistake today. Like one thing that got us in trouble in Beit HaMikdash is that we violated Shabbat. So, unfortunately, we're still making that mistake today as a nation. Many people are violating Shabbat. Many people are still not keeping it properly. But the other thing that we're doing that's less talked about is we're still not helping the converts as much as we should. And in some cases even rejecting them. And that got us in trouble also. This parasha talks about it. And one of the things that we learned from Rav Chaim is that not only should we help them because of the 36 mitzvot that we fulfill by helping the convert, but we should help the convert because if we look at history, they're the biggest neshamot. They're the biggest neshamot. Why are they the biggest neshamot? Because they're very humble. If every single convert starts calling me now and says, "Oh, see, I'm a big neshama," you're definitely not a big neshama. You're actually the other one. You're a big neshama because you're humble, because you're fulfilling the will of Hashem, because Hashem said so, not because you're saying you're a big neshama. You know, if you give somebody a compliment, they're like, "Yeah, you're right, I am that good." That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. So yes, we're obligated to help. You're obligated to help the convert, but again, that's one mitzvah. It's not the only mitzvah. But the big thing is not to make big sins. Not to make big sins. Big sin is rejecting converts.
Getting back to the thing with Amalek and the whole thing about revenge because of her. They always had this big thing about attacking us from behind. That was always like a big thing. Like sneaking up on us from behind. Is that a whole part of the revenge factor?
Well, the Amalek is evil. So evil does evil, meaning that they went to the behind because the people that were behind were the weak and old.
Yeah.
Because that's why they were behind. the weak and old were slower and so on. That's why they were behind. And Amalek took advantage of that, and that's where they went after. And it's no different. It's no different than what the Nazis did.
They outsmarted us.
Yeah.
I heard in a shiur from a rabbi, Rabbi Surikatan from Mexico. He said one of the things Amalek.
Sulika is Morocco.
Surikatan. He's a rabbi from Mexico.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you were talking about the story of Sulika.
No.
Sulika is from Morocco. It's a great story.
He's a real tzaddikat.
Tzadika.
No, he's talking about the Mexico.
Oh, with the safety
Okay,
thing.
okay. Shh.
And he said that one of the things Amalek did was sexual things. I mean, like perversions, like homosexual things.
Yeah, sick people.
Yeah.
Sick people. Yeah, I mean, there's I said in a story, in a shiur that I did in Tisha B'Av 2 years ago, I talked about different strange, unusual desires that these Amalekites, these Nazis had. And one of the Dr. Doom or Dr. Death, they called him, I forgot his name. Mendelssohn. Mengele used to collect body parts. So yes, they're very, very strange people. Yeah, very strange people. I mean, these are sick people, and they have a special place.
They were part of the Am Israel, or they were in a different country, or.
Well, Amalek is their own people. They're not part of Am Israel. They're their own people, but there are different forms of the enemy. There are different types. We had a different shiur here actually a few months ago about different forms of Amalek. There's also Erev Rav. Erev Rav is not necessarily Amalek, but they also have similar ambitions, you could call it. And Erev Rav is actually Jews. Erev Rav is Jews, but with similar ambitions.
Real Jews, though, no?
Real Jews. As far as Halacha is concerned, real Jews.
When they were getting down with donkeys, even back then I heard Ishmael, he slept with his donkey. And today you see the ISIS, they do the same stuff, the Muslims.
Whatever, the sick people. It's not really. What their sickness is not really helping us. Go ahead.
On what the Rabbi explains about the Ketoret. Somebody
Ktoret.
Makes a mistake in the Ketoret, then this person deserves to be killed.
Not deserve. That's what happens.
And
Deserves not. It's up to Hashem to decide. I don't know. If somebody made a mistake in Ktoret, it was up to me. I wouldn't kill him. I don't think they deserve it, but that's Hashem. I'm not the law. Right. Halacha is what to do. Yeah.
So the explanation that comes together with that, if I heard correctly, so Chidush, is that the chizuk the person gets from the column of smoke would disappear.
Right.
And that would cause the person to leave the Torah or to just not ever encounter the Torah because of Chilul Hashem.
Right.
Which seems to me in many ways the same thing that the Machtei Harabim
Same thing.
do.
Same exact thing. Yes.
So would it be, shouldn't it be okay for us to rejoice at the full of the Machtei Harabim?
The Rambam in Ilchot Tshuva. Ilchot Tshuva, he says that there are four types of people that the gates of tshuva are closed to them. Now this doesn't mean that they cannot do tshuva, because tshuva is technically available to all, but in order for a person to do tshuva, in reality, it requires an extraordinary amount of help from Hashem, extraordinary amount of siyat d'ishmaya to overcome the obstacles and the tests and the changes in behavior and so on and so forth. You have to literally rewire your brain, rewire your heart, rewire your neighborhood, rewire your job, rewire everything. And it's not easy to do tshuva. This is why I tell people that the greatest gift they can give their children is making sure they're religious from birth, day and night. Why? So they don't have to do the same difficulty that we had to endure of doing tshuva later on in your life, after you've already gotten used to making so many sins. So this siyat d'ishmaya, this special help from heaven, is a very much necessary oxygen that we get from Shamayim in order to fulfill tshuva. And the Rambam says that there are 4 that there's no help from heaven. But not only 4 that there's no help from heaven, there's 4 that there's also no help from men. If they come to you and they say, help me do tshuva, you're forbidden to help them. You're forbidden to help them. One of them is a mean. Someone that gets other people to leave Hashem. He get people to stop keeping Shabbat, and he says, okay, I made a mistake, help me do tshuva. Not allowed to help him. Once he does tshuva completely and he's a regular person, then after that he's fine. But to help him get out of the hole that he created for himself, you're not allowed to help him. To what extent? You're not allowed to be within 6 feet of him. He wants to come for dinner, not allowed to sit next to him. You're not allowed to be in the same room as him. In the same room. He has one room, you and him, you have to leave, you have to run. Why? He may kill you. That's what Gemara says. So, this alacha. So people that are Machtei Harabim, to that extent, yeah, it's a David Amalek talks about how he celebrated when Hashem would kill them. Why? Because these people are murderers. They're murdering of neshamot. But that's someone that's intentionally getting other people to sin. Another hand, if, let's say, for example, a woman is immodest, technically she's a Machtei Harabim. A woman that's walking around immodest, technically she makes other people sin. But she's not doing it intentionally to go against Hashem. It's not the same level as this Rasha Merusha, that's his whole goal is to get people to stop being religious. Her goal is just to get attention. She actually thinks, and she grew up in an environment that makes her think that that's a good thing. So she's not doing it intentionally as a war against God, whereas he is. So those are 2 different types of Machtei Harabim. Either one is no good. Both of them are terrible. Both of them will have to pay a serious punishment, but his is much worse. Both of them are in a problem. But this one is declared war against God. The other one is a sinner, which we have to help do tshuva. We have to tell her, please do tshuva. Please start wearing a long skirt. Don't wear pants anymore. Cover your hair with a mitpachat or a hat if you're married. Wear a loose clothing because, you cannot have other men know your exact details of your figure, and so on and so forth, and just tell her what the law is and try to help her do it. Try to even help her find the things if you can, and try to guide them to the truth. But it's, again, different ways for different people. Not everybody is one size fits all. Some people, they are only going to do tshuva if you tell them the truth to their face with no sugar. Nothing. Just truth, 100% raw. Other people, you have to it's like little babies. You have to baby steps. In my opinion, from doing this for several years, and I guess dealing with people for a long time, I've always dealt with people. I don't think, in my opinion, whatever my opinion is worth, 5, 6, 7 cents, I don't really think there's many, if any at all, people left in our generation, at least not ones that I've ever met or heard about, that you can help them do tshuva without giving them the truth. Maybe you can get some people to keep a few mitzvot in a nice way. Listen, if you keep Shabbat, Hashem will give you money. Listen, if you give tzedakah, Hashem will give you money. Listen, if you stop yelling at your wife, Hashem will give you money. It's like business though. But the minute that Hashem takes away the money, or the minute that Hashem gives them a big test, they'll leave everything into a garbage. So tshuva means that it's become part of you. It's become like your blood. Like if you just one day decide you don't like your blood, you can't leave it. You say, blood, go away, I'm going to go somewhere else. The blood's part of you. That's tshuva. Tshuva, real tshuva, I don't believe, from my experience, is possible without telling people the full truth, uncensored. No sugarcoating, and not even necessarily too worried about whether it's going to offend them or not. You're just going to give them the truth and let them be adults and decide. And I mean that for both adults and children alike. That's why, for example, to treat kids like they're retarded and tell them, listen, what happened when a kid asks you, well, what happened to Cain? No, he went to sleep. That's not what the Torah says. He didn't go to sleep. He died. Hashem killed him. You don't necessarily need to give him the details and so on, But well, it's what happened to Abel? Oh no, he got into an argument with his brother and he moved away. No, he didn't move away. His brother made 50 million holes in him because he didn't know which hole was the neshama going to leave. You don't necessarily need to give him that detail. You just tell him he died, regardless of he's 6 or he's 60. That's what the Torah says. So a lot of the sugarcoating that's done, that starts at childhood, I don't think helps kids. Because that yirat shamayim, that fear of God, has to start for a kid. If the kid's not afraid of God at 6 years old, who's he afraid of? If you're going to say, oh, he's afraid of his mom. Okay, what about when he's in school? His mom's not there. Oh, he's afraid of his dad. Okay, his dad is at work. What about when he's not there? He's in the schoolyard. So in the schoolyard, he's going to be Hitler, but at home, he's going to be Rabbi Akiva. That's what happens. That's what happens many times. So the sugarcoating, it's not the derech avotenu. It's not the way of our ancestors. That's not the way the prophets spoke. That's not the way the giant chachamim spoke. This is something that literally only started in the last 200-300 years. And obviously it's not working. So I think that chuva is already difficult as it is. You need to give people as much help as possible, even if that help hurts a little bit. Sometimes the medicine is disgusting, but it still cures. It's disgusting. With all the technology in the world, every antibiotic is gross. It's unbelievable. They have so much technology, they can make somebody go to the moon according to them, but they can't make an antibiotic taste like strawberry. But you still have to take it, regardless of the fact that it's disgusting. Why? It's going to cure whatever ailment you have if it's the right antibiotic. But don't tell you, listen, maybe you should don't sugarcoat it. Say, take the antibiotic or you're going to die. That's it. That's chuva. Chuva, you have to tell people the truth. And those that are trying to motivate people, what I'm noticing is that Hashem is fulfilling the prophecy, Baruch Hashem, where He's separating the truth from the sheker. A lot of the people that were sugarcoating it, He's making them mamash go, and it's clear that this is nonsense, and the people that are keeping to the truth, it's clear this is emet. How? The guys that were sugarcoating it, all of a sudden everybody has become a business coach. Yeah. They're all business coaches. They're all motivational speakers. They want to be one of the Goyim, Tony Robbins, or Zig Ziglar, or Amalek, his friend, or whatever. They always want to be one of these people. And people are paying for it, and people are listening to it, but they're not getting tshuva out of it. They're getting business advice out of it. They're getting business advice out of it. So the rabbi is giving business advice all of a sudden. The rabbi is the business guru. He's Donald Trump with the kippah. So it's craziness. But you see, the whole shiur is about, listen, if you do this, and this, you'll have more money. What about having olam haba? Forget money. What about olam haba? If you do this, and this, then your business will succeed. Okay, the business. What about Hashem? Is Hashem going to be happy with me? No, if you do this, then your bling is going to be blinger. Okay, fine with the bling. I got it. What about Hashem? Hashem is gonna put me in Gan Eden. If you do that, that's the thing. It's it's almost like you have to be spiritually sick already to attend those classes. Why? It's the only way you're going to survive. If you're spiritually healthy, you can't survive 5 minutes. You can't survive 5 minutes listening to those classes. It's just, forget the beard. It's Hashem is separating it, separating the emet from the shekel, and little by little. But the problem is that there's a lot on the shekel side. There's a lot on the shekel side. What else?
Who are the other two, four people that can't do tshuva? You can't help do tshuva.
The biggest and most relevant thing is someone that gets other people to sin. Someone that makes certain types of sins. The main thing we have to worry about is making other people to sin. It's the most relevant one. The other ones are not as relevant to us. But I'll show you the halakha. I think maybe I wrote the book. I'll show it to you. I'll give you details. Next. No, everybody shy? Okay.
So, when Moses said when God said he he was going to eliminate the memory of Amalek.
Hmm?
And then later Moses said, we're going to fight Amalek in every generation.
Hmm?
I don't know, can you shed some insight into that in terms of erasing the memory and fighting Amalek and
Right.
Hashem versus Moses and all that?
So the original war against Amalek that we had in last week's parasha, technically Yeshua ben Nun weakened Amalek to the point where if he continued, he could have destroyed them. But then Hashem said, don't do it. Why? I want this tool to use it in every generation until Mashiach comes to wake up Am Yisrael to do tshuva. So the Gemara says something scary about the end of times. Something scary about the end of times. And it says the following. It says that in the end of times, in the end of days, before the Mashiach comes, everyone's going to have an opportunity to do tshuva. Everyone's going to have an opportunity to do tshuva. The truth is going to be out there. You're going to be able to get it on the internet. You're going to be able to get it in an email. You're going to be able to get it on your phone. You're going to be able to get it in through people, CDs, USB, this B, that B, every B. You'll be able to get the truth in a million different ways. And everyone's going to be given the right opportunity to do tshuva. Everyone. The Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin, page 97, says, those that do tshuva, good. Those that don't, he will bring them a leader like Haman, and he will force them into it. Haman was Hitler's Abba. Not literally, but figuratively, like Haman was much worse than Hitler. Much worse. He wasn't interested in torturing Am Yisrael over a long period of time and get some money out of them maybe, and get some work out of them maybe, and no. He was literally 1 second away from destroying all of them on the same day. All he was interested in doing was just destroying them. So the Amalek was a tool that Hashem has used repeatedly throughout the generations to get Am Yisrael to do tshuva. And because when push comes to shove, he's going to give us different things. Sometimes he's going to give us financial issues. That may work, that may not. Sometimes he's going to give us health issues. That may work, that may not. Sometimes he's going to give us community issues. That may work, that may not. Different things works, different things don't. But when death stares you in the face, everybody does tshuva. Like our dear friend Fidel says, at the hospice center, everyone's religious. He volunteers at the hospice center. He tells me everyone's religious. Even the atheist is religious. Religious though.
Find ways to be religious, even if you don't know.
Because you know that you're about to meet your maker. So Hashem has used Amalek as a tool. Just like he uses the scorpion or the snake or everything else. So the Gemara says that, Hashem technically could have destroyed Amalek 1.5 million different times. Every day he could destroy it. But he decided to keep it alive simply because it's the same tool that he uses. He uses other tools too. But this is like a last resort. The Nazis are the last resort. The Haman is the last resort. Meaning, if this fails, nothing else is going to work. So, at the end of times, before Mashiach comes, it's going to happen again. For those who don't do tshuva, they have everything in the world to worry about. Because Haman is coming. It's not my prophecy, it's God's prophecy. So anyone that likes to pretend that this is not going to happen, it's not relevant, and Donald Trump is the president, and he's our friend, and he's our this, and he's our that. I don't know if it's Donald Trump. I don't really care. We're not naming names. We don't know who the enemy is. Other than our Yetzirah, that's the enemy. Aside from that, it doesn't make a difference who the players are. That's what people keep trying to point fingers. This one, that one, they don't like this guy, they don't want like that guy. He's a lefty, he's a righty, he's a middle, he's a up, he's a down. Do the hokey pokey, turn around. Everybody tries to name. Enough. There's no names. There's Amalek. There's Ishmael. That's all we need to know. Chuva. Hashem. That's it. You don't need to know who the players are. It doesn't matter where you're going to live. It doesn't matter if you're in Israel. It doesn't matter if you're in America. It doesn't matter if you're anywhere. All that matters is if you do tshuva. You do tshuva, you have nothing to worry about. Why? You have olam haba. Even if they kill you, who cares? You have olam haba. Even if they kill you, if you did real tshuva, what do you care? The difference a maker happens in this world. You're in olam haba. You're in Rabbi Akiva, Sarai Menu. What do you care? If you did tshuva, you express Gan Eden forever. Who wants to live in this world anyway if you did tshuva? If you didn't do tshuva, oh what? Oh what? It's very sad to hear about people that die and while doing tshuva. I hear about it all the time. It's very sad. People tell me, oh, do you think it's going to be okay? No. Well, but that really offends me. Offends you? Do tshuva. Okay, I tell you. I wrote the Torah. It's my fault. No, you're not being really nice. It has nothing to do with nice. Until you ask me, it's going to be okay. I said, no. Guy died while keeping Shabbat. It's not going to be okay. Okay, can you do something? No. He's dead. If he was alive, I could do a lot. It's alive. Come to the shiur. Oh, what about if I could do Kaddish? Do Kaddish from here till next year. It's not going to get him to... What's it going to do? There's certain mitzvot that you just can't mess with. There's certain things there's certain things. It's a foundation. Certain things you just can't mess with. So you have to do tshuva. You have to do tshuva. I can repeat it from here until next year. It's still not going to be enough. So you want to enjoy certain things of this world. You have a little bit of money. You want to enjoy yourself, get better food than the rest of the people. Fine, enjoy the food, but still do tshuva. You want to live in a big house, enjoy the big house, you still got to do tshuva. No one says that you have to live like you're homeless or something. It's just that you have to realize what the priority is. Because if you don't, Gemara specifically says, Haman's coming.
You see, this gentleman from Africa, I think it is, he wrote in your wall that he washes your shiur and he still don't have shoes. He washes from... a broken telephone.
Hashem.
Do you see that?
I think I saw it. Yeah, I think I saw it. Yeah, no, there's people from all over the world.
In a broken telephone.
The
Wi-Fi.
Can. It was yesterday. Yesterday, I think he made the car. Yeah.
I don't know.
No, there's people.
What he says in there, I said, and I still wash your shoes because I still don't have water. I eat. I don't know how many.
Can. I remember. Yeah. No. Listen, people that are looking for the truth will find it. Hashem will put it in front of them. On the broken phone, on the broken television, on the broken anything. Anyone that wants to see what we're teaching out there, you go to bezaltashem.org. You can go on Roku. You can go on Torah Anytime. You can go on YouTube. There's 1.5 million different places. There's other websites that host our shiurs, and I don't even know about them. I found out about them from other people. Oh yeah, this guy has your shiurs there. I'm like, oh, Baruch Hashem, another person. That's the advantage. You make it free for Am Yisrael to listen, for Chazdei Umot Olam to listen. It's available. Go listen to Torah, do tshuva. Do tshuva, that's it, that's all. I'm not asking for anything else, just do tshuva. Do tshuva, Ribono Shel Olam, do tshuva, yes.
Concerning Gog and Magog,
Go.
I don't know if I'm correct, I think I heard it's basically 3 phases. First, Ishmael's sons go after us. Second, they fight, the sons of Ishmael and Esau fight with each other. And finally, they become allies against us.
Right.
Is that correct?
Right.
The second phase started already.
As far as them fighting against each other?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. It started a long time ago.
In France, they attack French policemen.
No, it's nothing. What's happening now is baby games.
They are fighting
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, no, it's happened already for a couple of years. No, what's happening right now is baby games.
9/11.
Right now, this has been an ongoing thing for a long time. No. What's happening right now is Gan Eden. Next to it's not every day. There's more stuff. It's Hashem is trying to, give us messages to do tshuva. But no. The real thing is, listen. People that had Ruach HaKodesh, people that spoke to God, said they don't want to see it. Okay, and Gemara says that Rabbi Eliezer ben Hokinos, someone that was Rabbi Akiva's rabbi, he says, I want Mashiach to come, I just don't want to live to see it. Okay? It doesn't get better than that.
Maybe we should
It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. The point is, if you do chuva, you're fine. If you keep playing games, you keep focusing on shtuyot, on nonsense. No one can change the rule for you. And all these rabbis or so-called rabbis say, no, you're okay. Okay. What if you're not okay? What if he's wrong? What are you going to do? You think he's going to help you in Shemaim? He's going to be in the Goyim right next to you. What is he going to do for you? Like, does he have any proof that you're okay? That's what you have to ask. The person tells you you're okay, you don't need to do tshuva, you're fine. Okay. Show me, prove to me that I'm fine. Prove to me in a book. Who said I'm fine other than your opinion in 5778, 2018, the Christian calendar? Who? Your opinion? Like Moshe Rabbeinu? You Moshe Rabbeinu? No. The Rebbe said you're okay. Where did my Rebbe mention you in my book? Where did Rebbe say Yaron Reuven in your book? Where did he say? No, he said Am Yisrael is okay. Where did he say Am Yisrael is okay? Where? No, call, all of Israel have Olam Haba. No, but it says Kulam Tzadikim. That's the thing. People that say, no, you're okay. Prove it, I'm okay. If I'm okay, why you still keep Shabbat and I'm not? Like, why do you keep the mitzvot then if I'm okay?
Stealing them from you. There's way to have it.
That's the thing. That's the funny thing is that all the people that say everybody's okay, being secular, they're okay, but you're keeping mitzvot. How come you keep mitzvot and I'm okay too? Why don't you be like me then? Don't keep mitzvot. Why do you keep Shabbat if I'm okay not keeping Shabbat? So it's all lies. It's all shtiyot, but you have to use your moach. Hashem gave you a moach. Hashem gave you a moach to use. Don't be stupid. Don't be a cow. Use your moach. You can't go up to Shamayim and say, no, he said I'm okay. Okay, he's right next to you. Don't worry. When you're sick, doctor tells you, hey, you're sick. You don't like to hear you're sick, right? It's bothering you when I say you're sick, right? If somebody tells you you're sick, it bothers you. You're not even sick, but just to hear you're sick bothers you. So the doctor tells you, hey, you're sick. What are you going to do? You're going to go double check with 1,000 opinions. Why? Because you don't like hearing that you're sick. So 1,000 people are going to say, yeah, you're sick. You're going to keep going until you find somebody who says, no, you're okay. So for the blood, flesh that you have over here, you checked 1,000 times. What about Olam Haba? How come you didn't check 1,000 times? The one rabbi said you're okay. How come you didn't check with another 1,000 opinions to see if you're really okay? How come you just relied on one opinion? Why did you just rely on one opinion for your Olam Haba, but not one opinion for flesh and blood? Why? That's temporary. All the excuses in the world are not going to work in Shamayim, Rabotai. You cannot do accounting with